Hi everyone, it is market day. I am super excited. I'm also very nervous because again, this is my first ever market, so I don't really know how it's gonna go. I don't have anything really to compare it to because I've never done it before, but I am super excited. I have good hopes for this. I feel like it's gonna go well. I have prepped a ton. So it's day of, it's 1:40 right now. We're gonna be leaving around 3 to head over to the market. It takes about 45 minutes to get there. Right now we're just about to start packing up the van with all of my stuff. I've got one big tote bin with all of my items and some of my supplies. I've got my clothing rack and my mannequin and a couple bins. So my display isn't too extensive, it's pretty simple, but I think it's gonna work. I don't really know how much I'm gonna be able to film because it kind of depends how it goes, if it's busy, if it's not busy. My mom is coming with me and my friend and her daughter, which is awesome. I'm glad I'm gonna have some company during it. It is a 4-hour market, so it's from 5 till 9 p.m. and it looks like it's not too busy of a venue, so I'm not expecting to have a ton of people there, but any sales are great. My goal is just to make back my table fee, which was $55. So if I hit that, that's amazing. I am content with everything else. Even if I don't hit it, I mean, that wouldn't be great, but even if I don't, I'm still happy to do this. I feel like it's going to be a really good test run for just how a market goes. So that's where we're at right now, and I guess I'll check in as soon as there's a new update. Hey guys, we are 1 hour in and I've sold one thing so far. I sold my Lumpy Space Princess, which was $15. She came up because she saw my Jake the dog hat and I pointed out the LSP plushie and she's like, oh my god, I need it. Bought it immediately. It was awesome. I've had lots of people coming up, just touching everything, lots of fun interactions. I'm working on a top right now. So yeah, it's going great so far. Alright, I am home. It's around 11 p.m. The market was great. It was a huge success. I sold definitely more than I expected, which is awesome. I am so tired though. It was a very long day for me. It was great, but I am very tired, so I'm gonna go to sleep and I will check in with you guys probably tomorrow, give you a full rundown, everything I sold, how the whole thing went, and you know, everything. Hey guys, it is Wednesday today, so it's been a few days since the market, and I think I've rested up enough that I am ready to review how the market went and give you guys all of the details. I'm gonna have my phone with me just so that I can reference some details as we go through. But yeah, let's get into the details. So first of all, in general, the market went great. As you saw, I did not get to record much. I just wasn't super comfortable recording with having other people there. Plus I had my friend and her daughter with me, and obviously I was not going to record anything that the daughter would be in because she's a kid. And I didn't want to be recording any of the other people there, just respecting privacy and just, you know, being a little embarrassed recording in front of people. So I think I only got like one clip, maybe. But the market went great. It was really easy to set up. Thankfully I had my mom with me, and so she did all of the heavy lifting for me. I definitely would not have been able to do the market without having an able-bodied person with me, so very thankful for that. But it took maybe 45 minutes to set up, very simple. It was a lot windier than we expected, so we did have to make some like on-the-spot adjustments to deal with the wind. I wasn't able to have my mannequin heads up because they're foam, they're very, very light, so they were just blowing away. My mom ended up running out to get some duct tape and we used that to hold some things down, but other than that, it was great. It was a fairly slow, it was a slow market, fairly small, and it was their first time at that venue. But it was a really great space. We were all able to have like a tent set up and everything, so a really good amount of space. It was out on the grass, it was nice and sunny, but with the wind it wasn't like too hot. It did cool down near the end of the day, but I was prepared for that, brought my sweaters, so I was all good. Now for the actual details of what I sold. The first item that I sold was my Lumpy Space Princess plushie. I sold her for $15. The next item that I sold was a butterfly, also sold for $15. I believe it was my purple one with the pointed wings. The third item that I sold was the land shark, so that was like the blue shark with the little feet. Sold him for $20. Next, I sold an axolotl. That one got a lot of attention. A lot of people came by, touched him, picked him up, and just like looked at it. But eventually I did actually sell it for $10. The next item that I sold was a purple hat. It was a granny stitch bucket hat with dark purple and light purple. That one I sold for $20. The customer who bought that one was originally interested in the purple cardigan that I had. I could tell they really liked purple because they looked at like every single purple item. But when they tried on the cardigan, it was just a little bit too short because they were a very tall person and I'd made it more based off of like my proportions, and I'm 5'2". I'm short. So it was a bit too short, a bit too small for them, but they did take a business card, so we'll see, maybe they'll look for one in the future. But they bought that purple hat. The next item that I sold was my scrappy elephant for $15. And the person who bought it for their friend who collects elephants, and they picked it up and were like, oh my god, she would love this because like she definitely does not have a crocheted one yet and it's unique. And I was like, it's perfect because no one is gonna have that exact one because I used my scrap yarns for it. I can't recreate it even if I wanted to. So that was perfect, sold that one for $15. The next order was for 2 items, and this was for a mushroom lighter holder for $10 and the rainbow shrug for $20. So that was the only like clothing item I sold, the rainbow shrug. It was like a nice rainbow cotton yarn. That one was good. Next, I sold a rainbow headband made out of the same yarn from the shrug, and I sold that one for $12. The last order of the night was the Blossom Dragon, which I sold for $35. So the Blossom Dragon was definitely the most expensive item out of all of them, $35. And that one also got a lot of attention. Of course, you guys have seen her. She is so soft. The details on her are just beautiful. And part of me was like, I don't want to sell her. Like, I love her so much. But I also knew that just some little girl, or just anyone, but I knew that some little girl was gonna come up and be obsessed with her and buy her. And that's what happened. And they came up really close to the end of the night. It was around like 8:30, 8:40 at that point, and the market ended at 9. And a lot of the vendors had already started packing up, which we were told not to do. We were specifically told not to pack up before 9. But a lot of the vendors had already started packing up when these 2 little girls came up to my table and they were looking at all of the plushies, picking them all up and like just seeing all the different ones. And they had their dad with them and he was talking to them and said, okay, we can get 2 small ones or we can get 1 big one to share. And they decided on getting the Blossom Dragon to share. And so that was awesome. They were so happy with it. It was great. So in total, I sold 10 different items. 6 of them were plushies and 4 of them were kind of like accessories. I made a total of $172. When we take out the vendor fee, which was $55, I had a profit of $117. So if you guys remember, my goal was simply just to pass my vendor fee. I just wanted to hit $55 and anything else was amazing. And I passed that. I made $117 more than that, which I'm so happy about and so proud of. I know that that number might seem a little low to some people, especially if you're like me and your comparison is just other crochet YouTubers. But again, my first market, all I wanted to do was just make back the table fee and really just have an easy first experience, and that's exactly what I got. So I'm so happy with that. The only other statistic was the average price. So I sold 10 items for a total of $172. So the average price was $17.20, which I think is really good. I was expecting to sell more of the like $5 to $10 items, but I didn't have a ton of them. I only had a few. So it makes sense that my average price was $17. So like I said, the market went great. I'm really happy with it. But of course, there are a few things that I will be doing different from my next markets. And I have been accepted for my second market. It's going to be in a couple weeks at the end of June. It's by the same person, but at a different venue. It's going to be closer to me and a couple hours longer. So it's going to be a 6-hour market, I believe. So a little bit longer. It is earlier in the day, so probably going to have a bit of a better turnout. Whereas this one was 5 to 9 p.m. So afternoon, evening, you know, makes sense. It wasn't as great of a turnout. But I'm expecting this one to be a bit busier. It's for a like Canada Day type thing or something. I don't remember. I'm horrible at dates. But this one is expected to definitely be a better turnout. It's longer, better time of the day, and you know, school's out. School's out by that point, it's summer, so I do have some market prepping I want to do for sure. Since the majority of the items I sold were plushies, I want to prep some more plushies for this market, but I want to prep small ones. So my goal is to make a bunch of like $5 to $10 plushies and have like a few of each one. So maybe like some mini butterflies, some little dinos, some little octos, you know, just like the basic market things that most people have. There's probably going to be some other crocheters at this one since it's a bigger one, but most of the items I have are clothing, so that kind of makes me a little bit different than some of the common crocheters that you'll see at markets, at some anyway. So I have a list already of some things that I want to prep for the next one, and I know some more items that I'm going to be bringing like supply wise to help the next one go a bit better, like duct tape, sticky tack, and just a few other things that I think will help make it a little bit easier. But overall, after my first experience, I think it was an absolute success and I am so ready for the next one. So this is where I'm going to leave off this video. Again, I'm sorry that I didn't get really any footage of the actual market, but with it being my first experience, I'm sure you guys understand I needed to focus on the market, not on the content part. I'm hoping the next market is just as much of a success, if not more, and hopefully I'll be able to record a little bit more since I'll be on my own and maybe a little bit more comfortable there. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you watched it all the way to the end, don't forget to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, because I post new videos every week and sometimes twice. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!